SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb.
Right, results today out of Vox Telecom. They're interim results, and we had a trading update a week ago talking about amortization and a drop in headline earnings. We've got Tony van Marken on the line. He is the executive chairman of Vox Telecom. Tony, this amortization issue that you mentioned in your results, just explain to us exactly what it is and how it's affected the results.
In simple terms, it's the charge that we take against the purchase of acquisitions. And in conjunction with our auditors, we're following best practice, and we've reduced the useful life of those assets from 50 years to 25 years, which net has resulted in a non-cash charge of around 26 million rand for the full year. So for the period, it's 13 million rand before tax, and obviously that's had quite a big impact on our results.
You've also talked about, in the results presentation or in the results release, you've talked about tough trading conditions. How tough is it out there in the sector that you guys play in?
Yeah, on the one hand, it's good for us, these economic conditions, because we save our customers money. So from that perspective, we feel it's a good opportunity. On the other hand, we see in the businesses that are customers of ours that they are struggling as well. And we have over 18,000 corporate customers. And in the period, we've had higher bad debts than we've previously experienced. And on the consumer side, we've had much higher churn rates and, just simple non-payment from consumers, who we then obviously terminate until they can actually pay us back. So that's definitely had an impact, and we definitely see it's tougher out there than it has been before.
From a consumer rate, I would imagine you're talking about the Atlantic business, but from a corporate perspective, is it a worrying thing that you're seeing that corporates are struggling to pay bills?
Yeah, what you sort of see is almost, it's like being in a traffic jam on the highway where one car slows down and everyone slows down. You see a delay in spending. People just have a wait-and-see attitude. Some of the large corporates that we deal with, top 200 JSE listed companies who just say, look, we're going to defer this CapEx expenditure till next year or later in the year. And I think that kind of delay will percolate through the economy and have an impact on a lot of companies. And it definitely, it has an impact on new sales, obviously, for us.
You have a new shareholder in RMB because of the deal stream debacle that we heard of last year. Is that coming to finality? Is anything being resolved as far as what happened with deal stream?
Well, deal stream was put into liquidation on the 20th of February. And, the liquidators are dealing with that. It seems unlikely that there'll be any recoverability for us as a company. We're one of the major creditors. And, we're working with the liquidators in that regard, but, I don't see any real benefit coming out of that in the long run. From RMB perspective, they now own about 25% of the company. That was held through single stock futures. It's now held through ordinary shares. It's on balance sheet. They've appointed someone to the board. We have a very good working relationship. And, at the end of the day, it's actually worked out quite positively for us to have a shareholder like that.
Tony, let's look at the sector. If we look at the next year, 6 months to a year, there are challenges. We know that the competition within the space is hotting up. Are you guys ready for these challenges? Are you well positioned to face particularly the challenges on the competition side?
Yes, we are, Chris. We've been at this for about 12 years, and there's always been intense competition. And, previously we had other constraints from a regulatory perspective that we couldn't compete in the voice market, for example. So we continue to invest. In the period under review, we've upgraded our network, our data centers, invested in our infrastructure. We're rolling out fiber on some of our major links. And we're continuing to pursue growth in the sector. It's a 100 billion rand a year industry. We have about 2% of that, and we think we can increase our market share. But without doubt, it is a highly competitive sector.
Vox Telecom's Tony van Marken, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks very much, Chris.
If you are invested in the JSE